Greetings, everyone. So, today this was just on my mind, and you guys should know by now, I don't think I'm some kind of guru or anything like that. I just like to share wisdom that I've learned throughout my life. Maybe it will help someone. Maybe it will help a young person, a child, a teenager, you know? Because heaven knows we all can use a little bit of help when we're navigating this oddball, strange world that we're all living in right now. So, things to be aware of regarding people. And I probably wrote it real dyslexic, but whatever. If you're around a person that is always trying to devalue or lessen someone else's knowledge, someone else's prestige, wealth, appearance, looks, intelligence, whatever it is. And usually, oftentimes, people will demean a person's abilities and talents. So in other words, if you're a good singer, they're going to attack that. You're good with calculus, they're going to attack that. You're a good athlete, they're going to attack that. Because in order for them to feel better about themselves, they have to degrade, demean, and lessen other people. Because internally they really don't have much inside. If you see a person that, hold on. If you see a person that, like, I know this is kind of cliche, but let's say that you see a person on Facebook all the time. And the image that they are portraying to the world is, look at my perfect family. Look at my perfect body. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm so perfect. Look at my son. He got all A's this year. Look at me. I'm in office now. I'm so important. And it doesn't have to be Facebook, but the problem with this is it's not real. So you have to be careful. And I think a lot of us are guilty of it. I'm sure I am. I haven't been on Facebook for a long time. I did open a little account just to keep in touch with my relatives and friends. And I don't know if I'll even stay on there. But everything has to add up. If the experience that you're having with a person, whether it's your friend, your so-called friend, whether it's your dad, whether it is your mother, your teacher, I don't know, your neighbor, whomever it is. And I know I repeat myself, and I guess it's just in my head. If what you are seeing from this person is not really adding up to what they say they are, this is something to really watch. Something to watch, man. And another thing to be aware of is they always talking about who they are? Are they always talking about I'm this and I'm that? And oh, I went to this university. And oh, I got this degree. and I'm so prestigious. And when I was at this job, blah, 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 I was top, I was this, I was that. Like that bragging behavior, you should really, really be careful. I mean, all of us brag a little bit sometimes. I have. But when it's over the top, that shows you a person who's extremely insecure. And granted, we all have insecurities. I mean, I know I do. But if someone hasn't worked on themselves or they don't have enough true, authentic self-esteem to be a human being or a person without all these titles and these formalities and so-called passions or mission, or if it feels weird, something's wrong. And it does not pay to try to argue with these kinds of people. It really, really doesn't. And all that's going to happen is you're going to waste all your clean energy, all your precious energy, your prana, your life force, your chi, your kai, whatever you want to call it. You are going to deplete yourself trying to go around with people that act like this. Another thing to be aware of is, how does this person act in a crisis? Now, granted, none of us are perfect people. None of us are. But how a person, and this is not my original, I didn't come up with this, but how a person acts in a real crisis is going to show you who they are. So if there's a lot of stressful things going on, maybe you have a death in the family, maybe you're worried about your rent because you lost your job, maybe your wallet got stolen or someone's wallet got stolen, maybe you were mugged. I know I talk about law of attraction, but all I'm saying is, watch how a person acts when the chips are down. If that person bails on you when you needed a friend, when your boyfriend broke up with you, they don't care about you. And yeah, it's hard to hear. It's harsh. You might cry, you might feel bad. But wouldn't you rather know that person's not for you, or that person is really not your friend, than to continue going on where they use you and they discredit you and they're not there for you and they're not good to you? Wouldn't you rather learn? And then the more that you learn, you can align with other people that are more suited for you. I mean, that's a part of growing, right? Watch what happens when you have a really serious, how do I say this? When you have a death in the family of one of the more senior or more important, like patriarch, matriarch, or perhaps just an elder in the family that passes. Watch to see how people act when that happens. Man, I'm telling you right now, it will tell you everything. Everything. Especially watch for lack of empathy. Now, there are a lot of people that are very good at pretending they're empathic, but if you really pay close attention, you're going to see that it's not real. And again, it's going to hurt your feelings. You're going to feel bad. But wouldn't you rather know than to continue living some kind of a false, fictitious lie that you know is not real? And all that's going to do is going to hurt you more. And it comes with life. That's how we learn, you know? And if you're lucky to be in one of those really healthy families where everyone encourages each other and loves each other, that's great for you. I'm very happy for you. A lot of people don't have that. I didn't necessarily have it. I did have people in my family that very much loved me, but then there were the others, you know what I mean? So, and there are times, and I talk about this a lot, there are times in your life that you have to fawn, which means you kind of got to play the game. You got to, like, say you know that you have a boss that's really abusive, he's a true asshole, and you're stressed out every morning when you get ready for work, your stomach hurts, you feel like you're going to barf, you want to cry because the stress is so high. Sometimes you just have to tolerate it for a little while until you find a new job. Or like say you realize you're dating a guy that's abusive or a woman. You just play the game until you're like, I'm out of here, right? And one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in my life is never try to push your ideals or values on other people. It's never going to work. If you, and I know I pick on cops a lot, but let's just use a cop for an example. Say you started dating this guy and he's abusive, and you get in this big, huge argument, he's threatening to knock your teeth out. You call the police come. You got one cop that's really good. He's like legit. He's listening to what you're saying. And then you've got the other cop that's minimizing what you're saying and like, well, formality says we got to get a statement from your husband or your boyfriend, blah, 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 which is true. But if you feel like they're not paying attention to what you're saying, you are never, ever, in a million years, ever going to convince that other cop anything. You're just not. You see they're more malevolent, they're more abusive in their own nature. You're not going to change them. And the more that you get down on the ground, you know, like a toddler when they're having a fit and they're like, don't you hear what I'm saying? Can't you? You are wasting your energy. It reminds me of some of the child advocates that were out in front of the Blue Building that were trying to tell the police officers that the children were being abused. Now, I'm not saying every single one of those cops didn't care. I'm not saying every single one of them didn't care. But we can rest assured, probably 98% of them don't give a fuck about kids. If they gave a fuck about kids, they wouldn't be out there guarding an abusive cult that is known for sexually abusing, physically abusing, neglecting, exploiting, child trafficking, utilizing child labor. They just wouldn't be there. That already means they don't have a compass. So why would you want to use all of your energy and waste your vital life force on something like that? Like right now, I'll use myself as an example. Hold on, I got to get some kombucha. Right now, I have to focus on getting better. As much as I don't like chemicals, I have a strong will and a strong desire to live life a little bit longer here. I've got a mission, I've got a purpose. And there's a few of them, but I've got a few that are very strong in my heart and my soul. So I have no room for negativity. You know, I get negative sometimes, but I cannot be consumed with infighting or people that are bitching all the time or like self-absorbed. I'm just using generalities. I'm not saying anyone in particular. Like I cannot focus any of my energy on that. I have to focus every day on trying to eat better, trying to do some stretching, do some walking, exercise when I'm up for it, because I want my body to heal and get rid of the toxicities that are living in my body right now. So that's just a really good example. And I'm sure I attracted it somehow. And law of attraction is not the same as pulling it in, as the Scientologists use. Because this is my theory, is that L. Ron Hubbard, he parasited the law of attraction and was talking about pulling it in, but he used it in a more negative light, in a more malevolent way, trying to tell children that they're pulling in SA and all this repugnant filth, right? And when I say that I attracted this thing in my life, it's because maybe I was subjected to some type of radiation. I did get radiation treatment for a different type of disease when I was younger. It could have been that. It could have had a lot to do with me internalizing all of the abuse and stressors that I had dealt with for so many years. A culmination. And the fact is that, well, I don't know if it's a fact, but as it is now, the statistics say that 1 in 8 women develop this problem. That's a real problem, and I don't even really want to go into it. I personally believe it's more like 1 in 5. I think there's a war on women right now. That's it. So, and I'm not perfect. You guys see I have red hair. You guys know I snap out. You guys know. You listen to my videos, I do snap, but it just can't be where I'm at all the time. So back to learning about people, right? About beware of people. So I'm trying to think. I want to use this example in my own life, but I don't want to. Okay, I'm going to speak more in generalities. There was this woman that I was talking to, like potential friendship, right? Acquaintanceship / friendship. And I saw incongruencies with this person. So I knew, like my gut instinct, my intuition was telling me what she's saying is not lining up. And I was right. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Just call me. Just let me know. I'll take you to treatment. Blah, 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 blah. And the minute I sent her, and this was before I got the diagnosis. So there had been other interactions where she acted the same way. And then when I had texted this person, she ignored it. And then later said she was on vacation. So where do you think that went, right? You guys know. So it's just like you just have to pay attention. And it's like you have to realize that you are worth the best in life. And again, it's not like I got it all worked out. I mean, I do have a lot of wisdom, but I for sure don't have everything in the world worked out. Some of the smartest and most intelligent people in the world are smart enough to know to go to the knowledgeable in certain fields. Like, I think it was Tom Ford, learned that real quick. There was some kind of a quote of his that said, I don't know how to do something, but I can assure you that underneath my desk, I have a button that when I press that button, I can find someone who will. You know what I mean? So, that's what it's about. You've got to learn how to source and get help and resources and love and whatever it is that you're seeking through the right places. And again, whether you believe law of attraction or not doesn't matter. I believe in it. So on my channel, I'm going to talk about it. And I personally believe that prayer and intention are the exact same thing. Everything's energy. Everything in the world is energy. So because we have to live in this multifaceted matrix, you are going to have interactions with people that maybe are not good for you. And the more that you're able to practice and utilize keeping your thought vibration at a higher level. Like, in what thought vibration, that means like keeping yourself in good spirits, surrounding yourself with love and happiness and good health to the best of your ability. I'm just using those as examples. You're going to draw more of that to you. But on the other hand, like if you're driving your car to work in like really big traffic jam, you possibly might run into someone who's a road rager. Usually if you're very good with keeping your thought energy, your thought frequency in a better place, you usually don't have as much issues with it, but sometimes it might come up because we're in a co-creating universe. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So that's why I'm trying to help anybody who's listening to this based on the things that I've been through in my lifetime that I learned throughout the years the hard way. When I was younger, I used to cry a lot. I don't cry as much anymore, not that I never cry, but my mother had said that I was the most sensitive child. And I still think I am, but I'm just a little bit guarded, not so guarded that I don't allow love in, but I'm a little more guarded because when you have a kind heart, you're loving, you're generous, you're empathic. A lot of times there's people that will take true advantage of that. And the minute that someone that's more like that wants to take advantage of you, they will get real mad when they can see they can't play you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to use job interviews as an example. I can assure you guys, I think I'm going to talk about that one day, about my job interviews and the job things that I had gone through. Man, they can wear a sister out, and I'm here to tell you that is the plan. A lot of times it's about degradation, subservience, obedience, when it comes to trying to get with these different jobs. And then you bust your tail getting this other job. You're feeling all excited about it. And then the abuse begins. Well, especially if you have a strong personality like mine. And yeah, I probably wasn't always the best to work with. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But what I want to get to here is that I think in a lot of ways it's like predatory versus prey kind of environments that are set up to prey on people to just be the most subservient possible. Because it's never about what the job says. It's never about the job description. And I'm probably extreme, but this is really how I feel. It's never what they say it is. And then people can praise you just like in 5 minutes. Well, how do I say this? They can praise you and say what a good caseworker you are or whatever it is, your job capacity. And then a minute later, they can just turn on you. And that's part of the narcissism too. It's a lot of the narcissism. But heaven forbid you start heaven forbid you start standing up for yourself. So, jobs. Okay, so we're talking about things to beware of regarding people. So we're going to talk about jobs and people at these jobs and what to look out for. So I don't know. I don't really want to go into detail because that will wind up being an hour-long video. But if you go on a job interview, okay, there's a lot of things you should watch out for. I'm going to try to think about as many of them as I can right now because I would like to help you out. Because you could save yourself a lot of heartache. And it doesn't mean to be combative in your job interview because one, they're not going to hire you, and two, you're never ever going to win with these kinds of predatory people. You never will. So if for some reason you figure out that the turnover is high, let's say that you get, okay, let's say you get the interview, you're answering all these dumbass questions that they make you answer, and you notice that several of the desks in the area that you're being interviewed in are completely clean. There's no pictures. There's no sign of someone sitting at these desks. Guarantee you they just fired a bunch of people. It's a fact. So if people have no regard, and maybe the employee was bad, or the employees, but if there's a lot of that and you see a lot of desks that you can tell nobody sits at, that's your cue that it's not a good place. Another thing to be aware of when you go into a job interview with predatory people, is if you go in, oh my gosh, my eye. Wow. If you go in and let's say that your job interview is 1:15. And I never really interviewed for that many high-end jobs. I did for some. I didn't do well in the Matrix. It's a fact. Because I figure shit out too fast. A lot of these like middle management or like lower end jobs, just the kind of grunt jobs that we're all just trying to survive. Or maybe you got a bachelor degree that's worthless. Sorry, but mine was pretty worthless. And you're all excited, you dress nicely. Your resume is just exactly how you want it to be. You've got your objective statement. You've got all your references. You checked your references. They're good to go, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. And you come in. I'm going to say it old school because it's easier for me. You got your little folder. You got extra resumes in case people need it. Because a lot of times when you get interviewed, there's going to be more than one person interviewing you. That's also a red flag. Depending on the job, if you're interviewing for a higher end job or upper management or something, you can expect to be interviewed by a panel. But what I've learned is the jobs that I've interviewed for, usually it was all about ego, which is a screaming red flag. So a lot of times how people will be interviewed for a new position, and a lot of them, especially in the nonprofit world, they're going to be based on grant funding, how much grant funding they got, which is that can be another issue, but it doesn't mean that it's not a good job. But the red flag that I want to explain to you guys is, let's say that your job interview is at 1:15 in the afternoon. You scoped out the route you were going to take to get you to the job interview, made sure your car was good to go, made sure that your clothes were good to go, all this stuff. You rehearsed all these dumbass questions in your head. You be honest, but some of these questions that are asked are so ridiculous. You're all excited. You're sitting in the reception area. The receptionist has checked you in. She got your name. She took the resume. Or maybe they wanted more than one resume, cover letter, all that stuff. You are supposed to be interviewed at 1:15 sharp. So a few other people sitting in there, because a lot of times they'll do it back to back. You're supposed to be called at 1:15 on the dot. They give you a bottle of water. You're drinking it. Just make sure your mouth's not dry. You're sitting there. You're waiting. It's 1:30. I'm here to tell you, if they're going to sit and make you wait like that, just walk out. It's a test. It's a test. Will they tolerate any abuse? You might be desperate for a job. I mean, a lot of us have been there. I know I have. I would tell you just to walk away if you can. So, because what that's doing is already setting you up to be abused. And it's funny because I feel like nowadays a lot of the tables are getting turned. And employees are getting real tired of all the abuse, of all the henchmen working in the HR and all this crap, mass layoffs, all this insanity. And they're getting to be just a little choosier, as they should, because these companies cannot exist without employees. So they call you late to come in for the interview. Number one, red flag. The other one was if you see empty desks. And you might casually ask, depending on the reception when you're getting interviewed, you might casually ask, why the job position came open. Because, you could be interviewing at a decent place. You just kind of got to feel it out. And that is a fair question to ask them. If they start getting really defensive, that means something is up. That means turnover is really high. That means the place sucks. It's probably loaded with narcissists, maybe a psychopath or two, and you're going to be crying and stress the fuck out every day. Just leave. So, I actually want to talk about more, but I don't want this video to go on like too long. But it's gotten me some ideas, and I hope whomever is listening to this can get a little bit of help from this, especially the young folks. I know how it is when you're young, and especially if you don't have a lot of support, you can use a little bit of advice from anyone. So, yeah, I'm going to talk more about job interviews. I had various job titles, and as I said, I worked in nonprofit for quite a while. Oh, have you guys ever heard Time to Go? Yeah, baby. But on several occasions, I was an employment specialist. So I want to develop a whole series of helping people to create a resume, a good cover letter, and good tips to help you create a good resume, especially geared toward the Scientologists, because I feel like I have a lot of resources that I can offer freely to people, and that will be beneficial to them. So I really do enjoy helping people, and I hope this was a little bit of help for you. Have a good day or night wherever you are. Peace.